What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into another edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. I am your host, Jack Lowe, joined as always by Jay Ballard and a very special guest today in Perris Jones. We'll get to him in just a moment, though. We want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by A Squared Pizza. Be sure to get your Detroit-style pizza in Charlottesville from A Squared, as well as Mincer's, any gear you ever want, including the commemorative FSU t-shirt. Be sure to go check out Mincer's today. So our guest today, Jay Perris Jones, he played with UVA from 2018 to 2023, had the injury last time Virginia played at Louisville, and is now doing some really incredible stuff with his life. Perris, how you doing today?
Doing really, really well, man. Blessed to be here.
Awesome. Glad to have you. I'm glad to see you're doing well. I've read a lot about you being at Louisville now. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it sounds like, everything's working out really well for you. But let's start at the beginning of your collegiate career. So 2018, you debuted as a freshman, a true freshman against North Carolina as a kick returner. What was it about UVA that made you commit, especially being from Florida?
Yeah, man. So I'm a military family. So we moved around quite a bit and moved to Virginia at the start of my high school career as a freshman. And so, being that my family was here in Virginia, it was a close commute for them to be able to come to the games. And obviously it's an amazing academic institution as well. So it was just kind of the best of both worlds, and every athlete's dream is to play Division I, right? And so I didn't have a whole bunch of opportunities to do that, but I was fortunate that UVA gave me a chance, and then that's ultimately what landed me on it.
For sure. In 2019, your second year, was a really special year for UVA under Coach Mendenhall, earning 8 wins in the regular season, beating Virginia Tech. What was the culture like in that locker room?
Yeah, man, it was insane. I would honestly say that it was from the locker room up. That was how that team was ran. We had some amazing team leaders on that team that made sure that they enforced the standard across all platforms, whether that be on the field, in the nutrition room, or in the academic room, classroom. So it was just a set standard that everybody bought into, and the belief in that team was second to none. We truly believed that we could compete and play with anybody in the country. And we believe that we put in the work to be able to do that and have that belief. So it was an amazing culture to be a part of, man, seriously.
For sure. And after 2021, that was one of the most explosive offenses we've ever seen. So many points flying on the scoreboard. Coach Mendenhall stepped down. Coach Elliott took over and stepped in. What was your first impression of Coach Elliott?
That he was just an amazing man. Even beyond being a coach, he just truly cared about everybody. And I think the way he came in, he made sure that we understood that he was here for us. He was supporting us, and he wanted to make sure that we could go to, as far heights as we wanted to. So my first impression was simply that he was just an amazing dude, amazing story, has some great football knowledge, obviously. And I also thought he was a great coach too. He really understands the game of football and was able to speak to a lot of different technical issues, or not issues, but aspects of the game rather. And so he, all around, I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, so Coach Elliott comes in, a lot of people will decide, they want to continue their careers elsewhere. What made you stay with the staff?
Yeah, I mean, Virginia it kind of became home, and like I said, my impression of Coach E, he was an easy guy to fall underneath and to support and to play for, and conversations with him, he's just a solid man, great principles that he stands on, and he actually lives those on a day in and day out basis. So I could play for a guy like that any day of the week, that you know what you're getting, and he's going to go to bat for you every day of the week as well. And he made it clear that he didn't care, if you were scholarship or walk on. He wanted guys that were just bought into the culture, and I love that. That kind of equal opportunity playing field, and if you work hard, anything is yours, kind of similar to Bronco. And he really stood by that. So it was an easy decision for me once having a couple conversations with him.
Yeah, when you talk about UVA, we get a chance to talk to a lot of the high school recruits. And I tell them, a lot of schools can set you up for a good 4 years, but UVA can set you up for a good 40 years.
Yeah.
And there's a difference in that, But what are some of the differences and maybe some similarities between Coach Mendenhall and Coach Elliott?
I think they both have very strong belief systems and values that they enforce. So I think that's a big similarity between the two of them. And Honestly, in the way that they ride for their players as well. I would say that's a big similarity. Coach Mendenhall was, he would stand front lines for any one of his players, and Coach E would truly do the same. You could call them at any point in time, and they'll be there with whatever you need. And then in terms of differences, I would probably just say that their coaching styles. I feel like Coach E is more of that coach that you feel like you could go talk to, and you could talk to Bronco too. But it was more so he was stern, and you knew you were going to get projected response, but I feel like Coach E was maybe a little bit more personable, which isn't a bad thing. But I think he was more of that guy where he was kind of younger as well. I think that plays a part into it. Coach E's more closer to our age, so he understands the times more and what's going on, and the swag that we're worried about wearing. Like he's has more of an ideology into that. So I think just his ability to create connect with the players on that level is a bit different, but they were really similar in a lot of the ways that they enforce their coaching tactics and things like that. I mean, they're both very, very knowledgeable about the game of football, and they both are amazing men. So not a lot of differences, but if I had one, that's probably it.
Yeah, we were big fans of Coach Mendenhall, and now obviously we love Coach Elliott. So you were there during the tragedy that happened. Can you just talk about, how the team kind of came together and anything you want to say about that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just is it highlighted the importance of family, like you said, during that time, we just came together, man. Like we didn't even really do a whole bunch of talking. It was, hey, let's all go meet up at the facility and literally just be around each other, and that was very therapeutic and assisted in helping us kind of get back to a space where we can manage ourselves and kind of conduct ourselves as close to normal as possible. And the arms of the community of Charlottesville and UVA really wrapped their arms around us, man. Like seriously, I don't think I've ever seen a city come together like that, quite like that, in that way. And it was a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of and be affected by. It was truly amazing, man. So I think we just dove into each other, honestly, and really appreciated the value of family and team and relationships, and maximizing the moments that we get with the people that we're around every day, because we kind of take it for granted at times. So we just focused on maximizing those. And then obviously those three young men are amazing people, and I say are because they're still living, right?
Yeah.
Like their legacy is still living. So they're not dead. And we're just focused on making sure that everything we do, we honor them, as best as we can.
Yeah, but I couldn't help but think of the 115-41 flag that came out Friday night. You get a big win, and they're still a part of that. So it's really, really cool. The next season starts, you guys are I think you're playing in Nashville, but it's against Tennessee. Mike Hollins still with the team also was a part of that night. What were the emotions like just coming out of the tunnel there, and how hard was it to play a football game, honestly, after that?
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. And I mean, Tennessee fans, well, they're amazing fan base. I say that they definitely packed the venue out, but it was more than anything. I think that was a game just to prove that we could do it. Like we could still play. Because it was hard. Thinking about those guys when you're with someone every day and you're working really, really hard with them every day, and then you come to work the next day and they're just no longer there. It's difficult, and so it was hard. Very, very emotional running out of the tunnel for the first time. Like, okay, we're actually going to play, and trying to focus on the game. But I think we got better as the game went forward and went on. I think at first kind of our emotions got the best of us, but I think that game was just a statement to ourselves more than anybody else that, we're not going to let that situation hold us down. Like we can still try to make this thing work and get the train back on the tracks, for lack of a better way to say it. But yeah, it was definitely a surreal moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Tennessee fans. They consider that a neutral site game in Nashville.
No, that's a home game, man.
It's pretty much a home.
Sure.
You can basically say it's in Knoxville.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's get to later that season. Kind of the elephant in the room, if you will. You guys go to play at Louisville, primetime game Thursday night. There's no other game on other than probably Thursday night football for the NFL. what can you remember, number one, from the game in general, as it was a good game? You guys put up a lot in the third quarter. And then take me through, if you can remember at all, the play where you were ultimately injured.
Yeah, man. So that game was just, went into it like any other game, trying to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's and that you knew the plan for the game and what to execute. And that play, I mean, I've ran that play countless times since I was a kid. It's something that I could probably do in my sleep, but the hit, man, I just couldn't get up from it. And so immediately after that, it was just scary right away, like not being able to move when all you've been doing your whole life is moving around and, shaking it off. Everybody gets hit hard and you're like, all right, get up, dust yourself off and go to the next play. But couldn't do that in that moment. So it was scary immediately, but I'm a very strong man of faith. So I dove into that and said a quick prayer, and it overcame me with a sense of comfort and peace. And from that moment forward, I kind of knew that I was going to be okay. And I had started to regain small, minute movements before going into surgery. So that also gave me a confidence factor. And I was thankful and blessed that after surgery, I was able to fully regain my functionality, man. But it was definitely a crazy time. I'll say that for sure. I think a lot of people think that I'm like, I would change that, but I really wouldn't change that happening because I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do now. And I don't think I would have got to it as soon as I did if that didn't happen. So I'm grateful for the experience, but it was definitely kind of wild to walk through.
Yeah, for sure. I read somewhere, is it true that Coach Elliott came up to you when you were laying on the field and you apologized for fumbling?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
That's priority number one.
That's the athlete in, though, like, man, I've been playing this game since I was 5 years old. So, being a running back for the majority of those years, the number one thing you hear is ball security, and so that was a huge aspect of my life. And I was like, just like, dang, man, I'm sorry. So it was, yeah, that happened. But
I mean, it resulted in a touchdown. So ultimately it was a great play. It's just at what cost is the way you look at it, at least from, our perspective. And it's funny you say that you did say that, because I don't know how much you keep up with the Virginia team this year. Back week 1, Virginia played Coastal Carolina, and transfer quarterback Chandler Morris ran one into the end zone where he was hit hard right before he got to the end zone. And and the first thing he mentioned to Coach Elliott when he came to check on him, because he was hurt, sorry for fumbling, Coach. It's just that inner athlete you see a lot of these football players. That's the first thing. Is like, shoot, I fumbled. And then you're like, oh wow, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
But talk to me. So you get to the ICU at Louisville or whatever it's called. Talk to me about the staff that took care of you, and are you still keeping up with some of them to this day?
Oh yeah, man. The staff, they're second to none. I truly believe that there was no better place to get hurt than here for the injury that I had, because those individuals were truly special, man. They by all means performed a miracle. So I'm grateful for them. They made sure that my family was taken care of, made sure that I had everything that I needed, and really tried their best to give me every opportunity to be as good as possible when I walked out of those doors. So I definitely do keep in touch with them. A lot of them have become family for me. So we check in on a pretty regular basis and try to meet as much as we can. But man, I'm forever indebted to those people, truly, because the way that they cared for me and my family, I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. And I don't think there was better anywhere else, truthfully.
I've read about after your first few weeks in rehab after the injury took place. You mentioned being thankful for the little things in life, taking nothing for granted. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was like kind of what I mentioned a little earlier. You go through life and there's so many things that you take for granted, that you don't take advantage of and that you kind of just do because you've always done them. For example, like brushing your teeth or, getting a spoonful of food and putting it in your mouth, or taking a walk to the bathroom to use the bathroom, like things that you never think about, you don't have to think about. Those got taken away from me, so I couldn't do those things. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't walk to the bathroom, like I couldn't eat by myself. And I was like, dang. So regaining functionality to do those things, I developed a new sense of gratitude for them, new appreciation, if you will, because there was a point in time where I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do that, you know? So it's just taking advantage of every single moment of life, you know, like being grateful for it all, the good, the bad, and the great, you know, all of it, because some people can't even experience that, you know? So I'm just overly thankful, man, that I can do the small things in life. And that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, I've shared this on the show before, but my wife was actually a spinal cord injury. She got hurt in 2015. T6 was her injury level. I don't know what your injury level was, but she's a complete, and so I know a lot of the struggles, you know, that you're facing there. When she was hurt, she was sent down to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, spinal cord hospital. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And then while we were there, it just happened to be that Mark Bonacotti, who started the Miami project, his son, or Nick Bonacotti, came and spoke. And Mark Bonacotti, his son, was hurt on the football field. They started this Miami project trying to find cures for paralysis. I think Louisville's hospital is kind of similar to that, right? It's just it's specific to rehab for spinal cords, and they have a lot of specialized things there. So I know you got top-notch care. What was it like when you walked out and everybody's cheering you on?
Man, it was a bit, honestly, full transparency, I'm a relatively shy guy. And it doesn't make sense, but I really am. And so they had told me that they were going to kind of have a little going away kind of a deal for me. And I was just kind of nervous and shy. I was like, oh, man, all these people looking at me and I'm walking. And keep in mind, I'm just now kind of regaining the ability to walk. So I'm like, man, what if I trip? That'll be embarrassing. And so it was just, but it was amazing. Truthfully, you know, I was grateful that many people cared and took the time to come and see me off. It meant a lot, but it was empowering.
Yeah. So when my wife got hurt and she graduated from inpatient to outpatient, you know, they do the little graduation ceremony, and for her, she got hurt in a fall, and so they try to make it lighthearted, you know, and they played Free Fallin' for Tom Petty.
Oh, that's awesome.
But so you mentioned turning football, you know, from a passion, you know, to a purpose, or
other way around.
Other way around. I'm sorry. But talk to us about what you mean by that, really.
Yeah. So when I first got into playing football, I kind of wanted to use it as a tool for the platform that it would give me, you know, to be able to kind of speak and impact lives and ultimately direct people to Jesus with the way that I was living my life. And so in that moment when I got hurt, I couldn't play football anymore, obviously. And then when you go to college and you play at a high level, and obviously the goal is to go to the NFL, right? And so that I kind of became consumed with that, and I lost focus of why I originally started playing it and the purpose behind it. And so that injury kind of enabled me to refocus on, actually, this is what I was trying to do the whole time. I can still do that. Right. And so now I also have the platform to do that. So it's just kind of about leaning into it. And I was like, man, like, this is all right. You know, life grabbed my attention and you know, turned me around a little bit. So that's what I mean when it kind of pointed me into what my purpose was all along. It just kind of brought it back up to the surface for me.
Mm-hmm. This fall, you began studying at Louisville. Take me through what led to that decision, and what is it exactly that you're studying?
Yeah, so I'm getting my PhD in educational leadership and organizational development. And what ultimately led to me coming here was because I actually came back to speak. I'm at a little speaking engagement, and after the engagement, some of the people were like, "Man, you should be a doctor, you know, one day." And I was like, "Man, I'm not going back to school." And they're like, "No, like, we could definitely see, you know, Dr. Jones." And we kind of laughed about it, but then we kind of looked around and we were like, "This actually could maybe take place. We can actually make that happen, possibly." So got in contact with some of the academic staff here and set up some meetings, applied. And I mean, it was just kind of a perfect alignment situation where the people that I was meeting with ended up leading me into who is now my academic advisor, who's studying the same things that I'm interested in, which is kind of NIL space and athlete, overall student athlete mental health and how they enact and the resources allocated to them to be able to manage those funds appropriately. So it just was a perfect alignment, that they had a spot for me. They had a person that was studying exactly what I was studying and could mentor me in that way. And then the people here are amazing, and they wrapped their arms around me before, and then they're continuing to do that. So it was just a no-brainer.
And is it like a full circle moment for you to study there after being treated so well there?
Oh yeah, 100% full circle moment. And I think it was also really, really cool that in the place that, a lot of people and even me at one point in time thought that like my life ended, if you will, it kind of took its next step. So it's an interesting paradigm there.
So, I know you're going to be successful in this program. So in 10 years, what's Perris Jones doing with this? Ideally, what's your goal?
Yeah, so the goal is for one day to have a nonprofit organization and just targeting socioeconomically disadvantaged children and helping them gain vision and also giving them the resources and the mentorship to be able to realize those. So that's a broad net, but then also just doing a lot more of the public speaking, man, and motivational talks and trying my best to get in contact with as many people as possible to help them realize what they want to do and let them know that they can do it. So that's probably what I'll be doing, is going on some kind of speaking tour or something like that.
Yeah. So, short term, kind of what does your day-to-day look like as far as school? I mean, I know it's got to be a pretty intensive program that you're in.
Yeah, it's honestly a lot of it is self-driven. So it's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and a lot of really diving into yourself, which I think my academic advisor does a really good job of framing. He said getting the PhD degree is really identifying what kind of scholar you want to be. So you have to spend time with yourself. Like, what am I interested in? Why am I interested in this? Like, what are the ramifications of this? Like, so a lot of questioning yourself. So I spend a lot of time in thought, a lot of time reading, a lot of time writing, and then also going to speak whenever I can. Whenever I get a gig, I'll go speak. So on days that I don't, I typically wake up and read and write, do a little bit of work for my speaking, which is just meetings and things like that, and repeat, work out, make sure that I'm staying healthy. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but yeah.
Well, Jack's going to get ready and take us out, but I do want to say just real quick, I mean, you've been just such an inspiration to so many people with your stick-to-itness, perseverance, and it's people like you that make it really proud for people like us to be just Virginia fans, because at the end of the day, we didn't go to Virginia. We're not alone. We're just fans. And, it's people like you that make us so proud to be that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Seriously. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For sure. Saturday afternoon, you're going to be honored alongside the doctors who helped treat you pregame. What will that moment be like? And have you been keeping up at all with Coach Elliott and a couple of the Who's who are still on the team?
Yeah, man. So the moment, I imagine, is going to be filled with a lot of different emotions. And, deal with those as they come. But I just feel like it'll be an emotional time. And then I do keep up with some of the coaches as best as I can and check in with them from time to time, as well as some of the staff and some of the players also. Me and Xavier are pretty close. So, check in on him pretty frequently, as well as some of the other guys. But, yeah, I try to stay in touch as much as possible.
Are you keeping up at all with the Virginia season in general this fall?
Oh, yeah. I watch every game, man. I'm tuned in on the TV.
That's awesome. So really quick before we take this out, what are your thoughts, number one, after getting a win last Friday night? But number two, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your prediction for the Virginia final record? And number three, not that I'm trying to overwhelm you, who are you rooting for Saturday, Virginia or Louisville, the school that you're at now?
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of what I think about the team, man, truth be told, since Coach Elliott's been here, I feel like we've always had the pieces. We just couldn't put it fully together, and for a variety of different reasons. But I think now the world is beginning to see that not only we have the pieces, but they're coming together. So it's a beautiful thing to watch, man. I'm so proud of those guys. What I think they'll do the rest of the season, I think they're talented enough to win every game. And the way that they're playing, I really think that they have a very strong chance of winning every game. So I want them to win every game, whether that's because I'm a former player or not. But I mean, I don't see any reason why they can't win out. And my prayer is that they run the table and go to the ACC championship again, man. Truthfully,
Awesome.
and I think that they are more than capable of doing so, especially with the way that they're playing now. So they just got to stay consistent, take it a game at a time, one play at a time. And but yeah, I definitely think we're capable of doing that, man. I really do. And as far as who I'm rooting for on Saturday, man, I sweat with those guys. But I sweat, cried with them, so I'm rocking with UVA, man. But all in all, honestly, I just want to see some good ball, man. Truth be told, so I'm not gonna be mad if anybody wins. But if I had to put anything on anybody, I'm gonna put it on the Hoos, man.
Yes, sir. I think Dr. Williams had an inkling that something was going to happen, scheduling that basketball game in Charlotte on the same day as the football championship game.
Yeah,
that's why they pay her the big bucks.
That's why they pay her the big bucks, man.
For sure. Perris, we really appreciate you. One final question we have for you. For anyone who's listening out there, if you had one motivational message to anybody, whether it's somebody going through even something similar to you, going through anything, what do you have to say to anybody who may be listening?
Oh man, I would probably tell them just don't put so much focus on the destination that you're trying to get to. Just focus on the next step. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think about, I want to end up here and I'm nowhere near it. But if you focus on this step and then the next step, before you know it, you'll look up and you'll be right where you want to be. And sometimes it's not about actually achieving or getting to the destination. It's about who you become in the process of getting there. So just focus on the next step.
Perris, we really appreciate you. Let the fans know where they can, follow you on social media, if there's any projects that they can go check out, and what to expect from Perris Jones.
Yeah, man. I mean, you follow me on Instagram. I am PMJ2. And then if you want to learn more about what I have going on or even book me for speaking, it's just parismjones.com. And all the information is there. So you can check out and see what I have going on, what's on the horizon, and also begin communication to try to get a speaking engagement. So, yeah.
Awesome.
It's awesome, Perris. We really appreciate you. Best of luck on the rest of your journey. Can't wait to see you out there on the field Saturday afternoon. And best of luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You guys have a great one as well.
All right. You do the same.
Once again, a big thanks to Perris Jones for joining us. As you heard everything he had to say about his story and whatnot, incredible story and a great football player before obviously the injury and, the resilience of that man and everything. Very inspirational. Jay, you got any words?
Yeah, I mean, just fine young man who he persevered through a lot, even before the injury, going through the tragedy and of the shooting and losing 3 teammates, and then to have this happen the year after that, it kind of felt like the football team was like, cursed or something, for a little bit, but they've certainly and he certainly has come out better for everything on the other side, as far as just understanding that things sometimes happen for a reason. We don't know why, when they happen, but the perspective that he has of, getting to where he wanted to be. He wouldn't be where he wanted to be necessarily if this didn't happen to him, if his injury didn't occur. So just great perspective to have.
Yeah, really good stuff to hear from him. And even to hear back in his football days, people forget he played on this team in 2018. He was with this football program for a long time through the COVID days and through the tragedy, and then obviously the injury. And the
Orange Bowl, some highs too.
Yeah. He was a part of that team. It's incredible. Yeah. Had all the highs, all the lows, and everything that you mentioned. I could piggyback off of. Very inspiring and a great story. And be sure to look out on social media. I'm sure there'll be plenty of posts talking about him getting honored and stuff, and just outstanding stuff. So once again, big thanks to him. Be sure to go follow him on social media. With that being said, that's going to wrap us up today. Be sure to go check out the CavalierConnection.com. You can read a little bit more about Perris' story there, as well as my preview article will be up before too long as the Hoos go to take on Louisville tomorrow. But with that being said, that's going to wrap us up. Virginia goes to play Louisville tomorrow. Go Hoos.
Go Hoos.